I remember one Florida vacation when my family went to visit my grandparents. And one night I was sitting on the bed crying. And my mom said, "What's wrong, honey?" And I said, "It's all over." She said, "What? What is all over?" I said, "Tonight's the night that we have less time left in Florida than we've already had. It's all gonna end." It was all slipping through my fingers. Can you relate to that feeling? Parents know what that feels like. When parents look at their child in second grade and then realize that when 5 years goes by, they'll be exiting middle school, going toward high school. It's all slipping through our fingers. It's hard for me to not feel that tonight with that Last Supper feeling. I hate that word last. It's the Last Supper. And there are so many things that it reminds us of, things that are slipping through our fingers. Jesus had been warning them for quite a while that the time was coming. He had told them, the Son of Man is going to be handed over, he's going to be killed, and now it was tomorrow. It was the Last Supper, the night before. Like when I was sitting on that bed saying to my mom, "Can we just start the vacation again? I don't want it to be over." One of the lessons that we are meant to gain from Holy Thursday and from the next days that we'll be celebrating is that everything is slipping through our fingers. It's true. It's actually true. It's not just a feeling you have. Everything here on earth is slipping through our fingers. One poet once said, "For anything to be beautiful, it must also be perishable." He said, "Death is actually the mother of beauty." And then he said, "That's why we're unmoved by artificial flowers." Isn't it true? When someone has artificial flowers in a corner of their house, it might bring a pop of color, but it has no power to move us because the petals will never wilt. The water will never decrease. That's why autumn is such an important season for all of us. Talk about slipping through our fingers. I don't know about you, but when I see that color report on the news at night and they have a big maroon blotch over Glens Falls that says "past peak." Slipping through our fingers. Which leads us to the next thing that Holy Thursday teaches us, which is that we don't have endless amounts of time to discover what in life has great value. We must make it our business to learn as soon as possible what really matters, what really will last, and what will not. We can imagine ourselves in the position that the apostles were in a little bit, thinking, we've got more time, we'll learn it someday, we'll have time to figure it all out later on. They probably thought that Jesus would just keep going on, preaching and teaching. They thought they had endless time to get it. But it's because this is the last night he has with them before Good Friday that he wants to teach them what really has value. And he asks them, is it greatness? Is it notoriety? Is it titles? Is it honors? Is it power? Is it wealth? Can you hold on to any of that? Can any of that follow you to the cemetery? So what he does is he gives no speech. He issues no orders. He does something that words could never do. And maybe you can agree that it feels almost wrong to try to give a homily after washing the feet of these beautiful people. Some of you may know many of the people whose feet were washed, some of you may not. One of them is a couple getting married this year. Another is a woman who just lost her husband of 59 years. She had her feet washed too. One is a second grader whose life is all ahead of him. He is going to get his first Holy Communion in 2 weeks. Another is a woman from Kazakhstan and her daughter. She's going to be baptized a Christian for the first time in under 3 days. We have a first responder who had his feet washed with his wife and his daughter. He's becoming Catholic for the first time in a couple of days. We had a mother and a son-in-law from Ukraine who go to our church and whose hearts are breaking. We can give ourselves a taste of what it was like to be in that upper room. But there's certain things that Jesus did that night that we can't do. We can't possibly do it. They're so beautiful, they're so impossible to conceive that we can only ponder them. For example, Judas had his feet washed that night. Have you ever realized that? He hadn't run out yet. He was sitting at the table, and Jesus did not exclude him. He did not give him a side eye or some shade. He washed his feet. That's how much he wants us to know about love and service to everyone. He washed the feet of the betrayer. And it forces us to ask ourselves, whose feet would we not wash? The feet that were not washed tonight were Vladimir Putin's. And I don't know if I could. I don't know if you could. Who are the other people in our lives whose feet we could not wash, even though Jesus did? Who is it that we could not imagine doing this act of service for? On his last night on earth, Jesus gave us a challenge. He said, since I came to save the whole world, with no one excluded from that, can you expand your circle of love to include everybody? And can you do it now? Because tomorrow is not promised to us. We're not here for long. It's all slipping through our fingers. The only things that could possibly matter here on earth are the things that are going to matter in eternity. That's all that matters. And that's what tonight and Holy Week are all about.